Hello and welcome back to another episode in the Pale Beyond. Well, seemingly are beyond all rescue and help, but all hope is not lost because supposedly we have been assured that a rescue is on the way. We just have to survive a total of 35 weeks. We have survived 5 weeks. We have 30 weeks to go. Supposedly, like, allegedly, that is the case. However, we only have one man's word and we don't know who this benefactor is, and we only have his word to go on. And the captain, if you don't know, have abandoned us. So we, as the first mate, have taken up the mantle as the new captain. And with that, beginning of week 5, we shall enter captain's cabin, see what we can do. Take requests. Now, just to quickly go through, if you don't remember or missed it, we allocated the rations, like the resources, in a way that we lost 10 decorum. So keep that in mind, that we lost 10 decorum. We had 74 in the previous episode. We now have 64, which is why, and the reason why we have that is because we allocated less fuel. So we lost 10. We did a half instead of a normal, like, full ration. We did a half ration, which meant that the decorum lowered by 10. So, and we did that because we could get away with it. We didn't need to spend more fuel, so we didn't. There is a reason why. You don't want to overspend resources, because if you do, you're quickly going to find out, or not necessarily quickly, but at some point you will realize, oh, I shouldn't have spent those resources when I didn't need to. So, here we are, taking requests. Let's see what Junior has to say. Sure, Templeton, word back from the attempt at freeing the ship. Right. He came to us in the previous episode when we took requests, and we allocated people to free the ship from the ice. So this is the report. Is such a report necessary? Well, as you can see, we're not moving. Crew kept at it for a week, but now we're calling it a day. A waste of time and resources then, as expected. I wouldn't be so sure. End of the day, at least now the crew can say they tried. Gave it their all. And we got 6 decorum. See how we got... We didn't get all the 10 that we lost, but we got 6. This is, like, depending on the choices you make and, like, and so on, it's not the whole world that the decorum goes down by 10 or 15 or maybe even 20, depending on how high it is. Because you can get it back again fairly easily. I feel decorum is actually not that hard to keep high. So making it bounce up and down is probably not that big of a deal to manage. So gave it their all. There's something in that. Yeah. So they now realize that, okay, we've tried, now we can move on. Kasha. Good day, Captain. Well, as good as can be under the circumstances. Good day to you as well, Kasha. Is there something you require? I don't have time for greetings at the moment. No, good day to you as well. Well, I'll be sure to spare you any more obligatory small talk from here. I hate small talk. I bloody hate small talk. Oh. But I wouldn't say that saying good day is a small talk. That is more like a general greeting. Something you really need to be okay with when you interact with other people. But I hate small talk. It's some of the most useless things ever. I absolutely hate small talk, and talking about the weather is like, oh. But anyway, I digress. Let's see what she has to say. In truth, there is something I've been meaning to ask of you. It's a matter I brought up with Captain Hunt, though he was less receptive. I'm not merely interested in the story of this expedition. I'm interested in the story of the people on this expedition. When the crew have the downtime, I would request that I be allowed to conduct interviews with them. I would like to know more about them. Maybe learn more about what happened to Hunt. I see no issue there. Conduct an interview as you please. We don't have time for this at the moment, Kasha. Another time, perhaps. That's all well and good for you, but what are we to gain? No, I see no issue there. Thank you, Captain. You won't regret it. I'll mark anything useful I discover in the crew manifest. Send them to the Red Room on the lower deck when you can. Yeah, I see no issues with the interviews. It's like, whatever. It also helps the crew to deal with the situation we're in. Even if it doesn't actually, like... It's a therapy thing. Well, anyway, gnomes. What do you have to say? Word around the crew is that we might end up having to move to the ice. We can't free the Temperance anyway. Would be wise to gather what we want to take off ship with us if we do. Indeed, we will need to prepare for what could be inevitable. Hey, most of the tools are in the lower deck storerooms. The metal doors need some work to open. It is worth what's inside. That is important to keep note of. The lower deck rooms has a lot of resources, but yeah. We're going to have to go through and see what we can accrue in terms of tools and items and resources. Anyway, Mr. Gloss, you're next. Captain Shaw, Mr. Templeton. It would appear that some of the crew have taken an interest in the transmission radios we have on hand. It is likely many of their first time seeing this technology, and they have odd ideas of what they are capable of. They believe another ship may pick us up if we monitor them. Ridiculous. They do not have the range to pick up another. Not out here. I said as much. But Mr. Turner was adamant we spend the night monitoring them regardless. He even sent me to run the concept by you, Captain. It's worth the attempt, even if it's just to assure the crew. It won't work, it's a waste of our time. We should focus on more productive matters. No. Now, yes, it's a waste of time. We know. But it is worth the time because it will assure the crew that, okay, we tried. As you can see, if we choose this, decorum will increase by 18. If we say no, it will stay where it is, but it might have some other repercussions. If we allow them to do this, and it will and get the decorum for it, it means we can spend that decorum doing other things, like rationing harsher. Worth the attempt. Yeah. Let's put the scientists to do this. All three of them confirm. Yes, Captain. It won't work, but at least this way the crew will be certain. Each person with a demoralization status effect will cause you to lose 5 decorum at the end of the week. Kasha may cure demoralization by interviewing people. Yeah. So he is going to be demoralized. So we're going to lose 5. So the next week, we can't do it this week, but the next week we can put him to be interviewed by Kasha to get rid of that. So technically speaking, yes, we gained 18. In the end, we will actually just gain 13. And in the grand total scheme, we will have gained 19. Because we got the 6 from before. So it's a net positive, regardless. As long as we don't let this continue for more than 1 week. Because it will. If you don't get rid of this, it will continuously make you lose decorum, which is bad. In the long run. Anyway. Yes, otherwise they will ponder the alternative until we have all frozen. Finish requests. Templeton. The question persists as to how long the Temperance can hold. Will we be able to wait out the ice? If there is no change by next week, abandoning ship may be considered. Feel that air? Nothing better than a cold wind to keep you awake. You're an odd duck, Yorick III. How many hours of sleep do you get a night? Well, on second thought, better not hearing it. I already know it isn't enough. Right. Yep. And as you could see, the scouting progress that I had done is still there. So things that I have already explored and scouted, I can't scout again, and I can't hunt in the same area again. So you do need to be a bit aware of, and scouting is more important, so you can find as many hunting areas as possible, so you can find a really expensive and lucrative hunt, prey to hunt, because But at the same time, if all you can find is the cheapest, worst prey ever, and you have the labor, it's better to hunt something than nothing. Anyway, let's take a look at this. Yeah, so as you could see, this is how it's going to look. Why is this week 5 here? I'm not sure. It should be week 4. Anyway. So yeah, this is how it's going to look. That it will be listing things like was cured of their wounds, or malnourishment was cured, or whatever things happens. And some flavor text, and whatever hunting you did will be listed here. That the dogs are available next week, so on. That's what this journal is. It's basically a log of what has happened that you can go back and look. So that's that. I had a comment about the journal, but you can't write in it. It's basically an event log for what has happened, which can be good to go back if you like wonder, oh, did I do that? Or who got cured now again? Like, who was injured before? It can be good to actually have that, but it's not like you can go in and do things and write your own stuff. Anyway. Normally, and yeah, as you can see, these are now put to that task. So we can't allocate them to anything else. And Mr. Gloss, Dwight Glossley, is demoralized, and he's purple down there, so that's that. The pumps. Rate of tinned food. That means the tinned food is still good. It hasn't gone bad yet, which is actually really important. And I need to make sure that I get as many of the crates that I can, because yeah, we are going to need it. And yeah, all of these rooms is places where you can go in. But if you take a look on the map here, on like the... It looks as if it's filled with water, and it is. So when you open this room, you have a set amount of time before it gets flooded. So that's something to be aware of. Let's keep you for the time being. I do want to get as much coal sacks as possible. Nothing in there. Don't need to do that. Let's go and do the map exploration first. Observe the effects of the summer melt. If I remember correctly, for each scientist you assign, gain 3 decorum instantly, as well as 1 research for your expedition. Yeah, so these research spots are actually quite important. I think, however, I want to scout as much as possible. So I have 2 of these. And yeah, you have to have a scout to do this. We can't do any more scouting. I also don't think I want to do any hunting first, but rather whatever is left over. Into the engineer's hold, food store. Let's go into the food store. You and Tucker charge into the room. With the water flooding in from behind, you have time to grab 2 items. Right. And here you can see you have different kinds of items. Spice crates, camp upgrade. Once per week, feed the hoosh to gain 3 food for each person with malnourishment or scurvy. I'm not exactly sure what this one does. If it pretty much gives you more food if you have people that are malnourished or afflicted with scurvy. It's not super clear what it does, but I would say that all of these camp upgrades and like items are vastly superior than anything else. All of the key, like these key items, are vastly superior to anything else. And then we have tinned lemons. All supplies of tinned lemons, each of them can be used to cure people of scurvy. And then we have spoiled tin food, plus 5 consumable items, worth a total of 50 food. Using them can cause malnutrition. Yeah. These spoiled tin cans you don't want to use unless you're desperate. And trust me, we will be getting desperate. We will be using spoiled tin food cans. But not today. I think, and as you can see, this is plus 2, worth a total of 40. But this is 5 and a total of 50. So it's technically speaking more food than this. But yeah, so, and I think it is, if you don't take this, it will become this. If you come in here again, because you can do that. You can get into the same room twice, but yeah. Let's take that. And that. The room has flooded with freezing cold water, rendering any remaining items inaccessible. And Paulson, Tucker here, got the affliction freezing, which will be cured if we feed the furnace and ration enough fuel for it to be warm enough. At that point, he will be cured of the freezing. But for now, he has that. If it transitions into frostbite, we have to send him to the med bay to cure him. We want to avoid doing that too much. That room has been flooded. I have 2 more people. I have 2 engineers. Right. And the coal I have already done. Then enter the weapons hold. You and 2 Johns charge into the room with the water flooding in from behind. You have time to grab 2 items. Here you can see we have ale kegs, 3 kegs of ale. Each of them can be used to cure people of demoralization. Flares, 3 flares for alerting humans and alarming wildlife. Can be carefully disassembled for fuel for a total of 90 fuel. The flare is actually really good, so we will be taking that. Hunting shotgun, +1 medium animal killed at each hunting location, which means that if you send 1 person hunting a medium animal and have this, you will essentially be the same as if you send 2 people. And if you send all 4 possible, you will get 5. So these are actually really, really important. Like, the camp upgrades are so good. So I think actually taking these are what I want to do. To begin with. And he got freezing because the water rushed in. We have, what is it, 1 more, right? Yeah, 1 more person. Should we enter the scientist or the general storage? I am not sure. I'm not sure, but let's enter the general storage. Confirm. Spoiled tin food. Reduces dogs required by 1 on map locations. Minimum 3. Yeah, so if the amount of dogs you need for something is 3, it can't reduce it below 3. But if you require 4 or 5 dogs, it will reduce it by 1. So yeah, like, the camp upgrades are some of the most powerful things to grab. And that's just what it is. And I think I want to grab the timber. Yeah, so the tools, digging tools, and then timber. He got freezing. Now, what I can do is I can ask engineers to raise the heat. And it cures crews of freezing. When raising the heat, each assigned engineer will instantly cure a random person of freezing. Let's do both of you. Confirm. And it didn't cure all of them. It is random how many. I think now I don't have a camp upgrade, so it will always be just the amount of engineers you put in. This means we only have one. Like, it's so important to make use of this, because now we only have one that run the risk of getting frostbite. So that means, because remember this, the med bay can only take 2 people. That's the max amount. We have 3 with freezing. If all 3 of them got frostbite, one of them wouldn't be cured, which meant one of them would die. So making use of that to raise the heat is so important. And another thing to note is that it doesn't use your fuel. It uses your manpower. It uses your engineers, so the engineers can't be used for anything else, which is a resource of a kind, but it's not using your fuel. That's wanted to say that, because so it's obvious that that's the case, that's what's happening. Anyway, we have 7 crates of tinned food. That's actually really good. Let's feed the furnace. We just need 1 to bring it up to 80, just in case. I think 80 is actually a really good spot, both for food and fuel, because when you're 25 people, and do note, the amount of rations you use is dependent on how many people you have alive. So if you have 10 people alive only, because you've lost like 15, the amount of fuel and food rations you need to use is a lot lower. But 80 pretty much always will... it means that you can have a ration of 3 per person and still be able to do it. So anyway, if we have now, if we go down here again, because I missed, these rooms are now flooded. The water pumps could help you access the rest of the items inside. So in here, pumps, we could go here to pump the lower rooms. Now I want to avoid doing that until all of the rooms have been locked, because as far as I know, you can only do this once. So I don't have anything else as far as I know. That I can do. No, I think I have done all things. I have allocated and done. Talked to everybody. I've done everything. As you can see, here on the key items, we have a few other things here now. We have the bolt action rifle, hunting shotgun, digging tools, spice crates, and so on. One is demoralized and one is afflicted with freezing, which you need to be aware of so it doesn't cause any more grief than it already has. Feed the hoosh. If if I add 2, that means it brings it up to 78. That is good enough, so let's do that. It's pretty much you want it to be above 75, but you don't necessarily want it to be above 80. So, because when you're 25 people and you do a ration of 3 per person, it's 75. So that's why I usually aim for like 80, like somewhere between 75 and like 85-ish. Call the crew for dinner. You can call it min-max, but it's just easy to remember. That's all. The crew have their meal. The dinner is shared. Crew return to the posts. The hammocks are unfurled in preparation for the evening. Despite the time, it's still bright light outside. You know, as far as ration go, this is good. June sure knows how to prepare dinner, doesn't he? He's too good for a ship like this. Yeah, that is always a good... that is always good. And one thing about ship food back in the day was it was literal garbage. It was usually not good, which was understandable, but at the same time it was also very not equal, because the officer ranked people usually got pretty good food, whereas the sailors got whatever scraps was left over. You're pretty old, aren't you? Good eye, lad. Better than mine. Why are ye still working? Ye should be at home with your family. Don't have one. Do you not have any children? I might do. Don't know any, though. Ye... more of the same tonight. You will have to get used to it. Not much you can do with the ice. We will figure out something to do, won't we? We will have to. Yep. Oh my god. It's getting harder to play. Cold makes the fingers stiff. Power through it, for the crew's sake. Have you tried playing closer to the furnace? Would it be a complete loss if you stopped? Oh. Now, have you tried playing closer to the furnace? Not the same. Besides, Hammond would just throw the accordion in. Yes, we got a bit of loyalty there. That's good. Loyalty is something we are going to have to accrue. It's a resource we're going to have to increase as much as possible, because it's not going to matter right now, but in like about 20 weeks, it's going to matter. Trust me, it's going to matter at that point. Not going to get an arrest anytime soon, are we? No. Could have used more hands. Hammond is worth 5 men, but even then. You ever get a feeling you're being watched, Shaw? Didn't check the feeling there was a pair of eyes on me while I was working there. Yes, I'm sure there is a terrible undiscovered beast lurking in the mist. You're overworked, you should get some proper rest. Isolation might be getting to you, Hammond. No, let's joke around. I'm sure that... Yes, I'm sure there's terrible undiscovered beast lurking in the mist. Bloody funny, aren't you, Captain? Not the superstitious sort, believe me. Content to defend it, but yeah. Okay. Karsha, what do you have to say? Captain, on evenings like this, my good friend Caroline and I would often play chess by the fireside. Makes me wish I had brought a board with me. Would have made for some light entertainment. Between your equipment and your awards, you packed enough as it is. Is it not interesting enough? Is the ice not interesting enough for you? Oh, some of the... A shame you didn't. I would have enjoyed a game myself. Indeed. Well, we can't turn back time, can we? We will just have to make do with what we have. Perhaps Mr. Templeton brought something along. He seems the jigsaw puzzle sort. I wouldn't know, but... Junior, evening. Before we took off, Grimly and I stopped into a greasy spoon in the city. The sausage and eggs was perfect. Best I've ever had. Now I'm trying to remember its damned name. It's left my head. Didn't take you for the sort to enjoy the city. Why didn't you write it down? It was likely by the docks. Just look around once we return. You'll find it. Why didn't you write it down? You can count on one hand the sailors I know that can read and write. And I'm sure as the depth. Not one of them. Yeah, so now... I remember when I played before I started recording that I picked that. I remember now once when I saw it that I picked that one before, and I remember losing loyalty because, yeah, he can't read. He can't read and write, so... Anyway. Anything? Right, not. I didn't expect anything to come of it. Well, at least we can say we tried. Yeah, so that's the thing that we allocated the scientists to do, because the sailors thought that the communications device could be used, but it's too far, so yeah. As expected, they didn't actually connect. They didn't make a connection. They didn't find anything. They couldn't hear anything, so... Victor Kurt, evening shore. I've been thinking about our pay once we return to land lately. Don't mistake me for the avarice sort. I do have expenses to pay. Before we departed, I received a letter from one of my daughters asking to cover the cost of a stage school. It would be a shame to promise a luxury only to retract it, don't you think? Do you not have enough money left over from your films? Wasn't the way you had a daughter? I try not to make uncertain promises. Perhaps you should follow my lead. That wasn't the way you had a daughter. Good. Two, in fact. Both with the first wife. Saying the first means there is a second. Anyway. Captain, if you find yourself stricken with boredom, I do have a book I would recommend. A textbook on different classes of wildflowers. The topic is more interesting than it may seem, I assure you. I would enjoy that, Templeton. This is a topic that fascinates you. I doubt that we will have much application on the ice. This is a topic that fascinates you. Well, it is my area of expertise. Yep, so we did learn a bit and we got some loyalty. Trying to accrue loyalty is actually quite important, and you may lose loyalty randomly due to the choices that you make. So, well, it's not random, but seemingly random. Captain, is there anything you miss from home? I don't mean anything important. I'm sure there are people you miss. I mean, small comforts. Do warmth qualify as a small comfort? Why linger on it? It's best to keep your focus on our current situation. People, mostly. Yeah, does warmth qualify as a small comfort? Well, you certainly aren't alone there. I doubt I will ever grow used to the cold. Personally, I miss tea. I would drink a cup every morning and right before sleep. Didn't think I would miss such a simple habit so much. Anyway, I have extended this episode quite a lot, but I will go through this week as much as I can. I need to start getting prepared for work because it's that time of the day. Anyway, at the bow you spot Kurt measuring for any changes in the temperature. Still fast, no sign of any change. He notices you and gives a wave. Doubt we'll be moving anytime soon, Captain. Of course, sometimes you never know with the ice. Should get some rest. I'll let you know if anything changes. Thank you, Kurt. See that you get some rest yourself. Bring the ship may be a lost cause. See that you get some rest yourself. I will. But you have to be alert. In my experience, changes come fast. Take care, Captain. So, right, we did we did scout and uncover some research spots, which we do want to do, just don't necessarily want to do them right now. So we can't do them right now because we don't have any researchers. They have all been allocated to other stuff. Templeton, what do you have to say? Captain, a word. I felt now as good a time as any to review the wording in our contracts. You do remember what was written in your contract? Of course I do. Why is that relevant now? This is actually really important, I'm going to say. To be honest, I only skimmed the thing. I was already sold on the job. Of course I do. Consider Article 3, and I quote, "A member of the staff shall throughout the period of such expedition obey all commands of the captain and shall use his best endeavors to promote the success of the same." And I'll let him continue. "And in the event of anything happening to the captain shall obey all commands of any member of the staff who shall be appointed by the captain in writing before his death." Let him continue. It being understood that the rest of the staff shall hold the same relations towards any member of the staff so appointed as towards the captain, as appointed by the captain in writing before his death. What are you trying to say? Are you contesting my leadership, Templeton? I don't understand. Was I not voted in as captain? What are you trying to say? The vote we held settled what is only a temporary arrangement in the eyes of the law. Even then, you only made it through by a hair. Unless you somehow managed to wrestle a written transfer of captaincy from Hunt before his departure, in the eyes of the law you are simply acting in his stead with no legal recourse to call upon. There is a chance Hunt and the deserters are still out there. Should we be reunited, your captaincy will indeed be called into question. The crew are unlikely to choose a deserter over me. I'm still here. I see no issue in that. Would it be good to have our captain return? Templeton, why is you invested in the captaincy? Why are you so invested? I am invested in the survival of this mission and providing appropriate guidance. You may presume an ulterior motive, but you know my reasoning is sound. The loyalty of the crew means everything. Get them on your side, sure. Keep them on your side. That will come naturally. I do not intend to disappoint. I see. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. A more important message is a piece of paper. Yeah. Thank you for bringing it to my attention. Remember my words, Shaw. I suggest you start with the Stoke brothers. It seems they speak for many of the sailors. Yes. And I'm going to very quickly go through the ship just to make sure that I have done everything. Which I have. Now I've been in every room. Wait. No, Cordell. Good evening, Captain. Will this take long? Dogs are fed and rested, however, I dislike leaving them alone. If trained them well, there won't be any issue. You are overprotective of those mutts. You see? Won't be any issue. That would be my hope, but you can never be certain. True. You can never ever be certain. Regardless, I am certain that this week will pass now. So, the food, we do need to have a normal ration, because if we don't, people will become malnourished. It's not cold enough that we have to spend a normal ration. So, and we only have one person who is freezing, so it should be good as is. And when it comes to Mr. Glass, his demoralized affliction will reduce decorum by 5. But next week we will be able to fix that, so confirm. Yeah, and he is still demoralized, and it reduced the decorum by 5, so we're going to have to fix that. Lefty has been cured of the freezing because we spent enough fuel to keep everybody warm, but it's no longer -10, it's -13. It's 3 degrees colder. So it's going to get colder and colder. So we're going to have to be a bit careful. We are going to have to spend more rations of fuel to keep everyone warm. Regardless, start the next week. And that is where we are going to end this episode. Now, my voice is pretty much scrambled. I have been recording quite a bit, so I'm going to stop recording now. I think it's a good place to stop. We are still in preparation. We haven't left the ship yet, but we are getting there. But we still have things we want to find, and we have started clearing. Where did my mouse go? There. We have started clearing out the lower deck to get like the spice crates and digging tools and bolt action rifle and so on. But we haven't cleared out all the rooms yet. We still haven't done all of that. If we possibly could. So that is something we are going to do. We are going to spend as much time on the ship as we possibly can to get as much resources and supplies and items as we possibly can before we are inevitably, spoilers, forced off the ship. Because I think you can understand from just the vibe of what has been talked about and such, without even me saying it, that the ship isn't really going to be viable long term to stay on. So we are going to have to get off of it and keep moving. Regardless, we are going to round off here because this episode is almost an hour long. I apologize about that, but I'm going to see what I can, how I do if I cut in the middle of a week, or if I just keep on doing and make every episode a week. I'm not sure. If you have any idea, like any opinion, leave a comment with whatever you think how I should do. If you want it to be 30 minutes, or if you're fine with an hour, like whatever. If you want to, that is. You could also like the video, or you could subscribe to the channel. And as I said, comment in the comment section down below. If you feel so inclined, that would be super awesome and nice if you did, but the choice is yours, so I will choose to round off here by saying thanks for watching, goodbye, and I hope I'll see you in the next one.